drown.
เสียงร้องปะ
Don't let me drown. Don't let me drown. Don't let me drown.
Well, good morning. My name is Rumpet Chitanuwat. Welcome to the Informal Markets webinar, which is organized for Food Ingredients Asia, Indonesia. You may have seen the video presentation about our food ingredients, and definitely for our sponsor today, the company PT Foodtex Inti Ingredient. They are working now on a lot of ready-to-meal and the solution. From the video, you can see that many machinery automation that happening implementing in the factory. That is very interesting to know about Foodtex today. So today we have got our guest speakers from 3 organizations, which will they will share with you on the ready meal, ready to eat, and ready to cook products. So the topic of webinar today will be on the update of ready meal industry during COVID-19 or during pandemic. So I would like firstly to introduce our guest speaker from Foodtex, our sponsor of the webinar today, Miss Jenny Lusley. She is the Business Development Director, PT Foodtex Inti Ingredients. Welcome, Jenny.
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet all of you here in the webinar. I'm Jenny Kartika Rusli. I'm from PT Foodtex Ingredients, and I'm the Business Development Director here. And today I will be bringing the topic ready-to-eat meals in the pandemic times.
All right, so we have our guest speaker from the TPBI Public Company Limited. It is very interesting to know about this company as well. They are supplying the film for all the most of the ready to cook, ready to eat, ready meal products in the market, especially in Thailand. May I introduce Mr. Saksit Barisut Thanakul, Chief Operating Officer.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to share everything with you today. I hope today our sharing will gain more experience and then more views on the very dynamic world right now. So I hope to meet everyone soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Ka. So for the next one, we have our guest speaker from Kasetsart University. She is Assistant Professor Dr. Kanitapon Wangnai. She is from Department of Food Science and Technology, Faculty of Agro-Industry, Kasetsart University. Please, Ka, Doctor.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Nice to be here today. I will be the last speaker at around 11 a.m. Please join us and we'll see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ka. So welcome all the guest speakers here. We will stay together about 1.5 hours, and we will have the question and answer. So please feel free to drop your question in the Q&A. If you have friends that you wish them to watch the video, you can watch at the YouTube in FI Asia Facebook, and you can see the rerun on that as well. So now come to the first topic. I would like to invite Jenny to share with us about the ready meal during pandemic. So Jenny, are you ready?
All right. Thank you, Ms. Rose. Okay, we'll start our sharing on the ready-to-eat meals. Okay. So, okay, just to start off, today we will be talking mostly on the ready-to-eat meal during pandemic times, but we will be covering this session in 3 big categories. So at first, we will talk a little bit about Foodtex. So we will give a brief introduction on what we are doing. And after that, we will be talking about the ready-to-eat meal technology and what is actually ready-to-eat meal. And on the last part, we will be talking about the ready-to-eat meal and its relation with the pandemic times that we are facing at the moment. So this is just a brief introduction on who we are and what we are doing. So we were established in 1995. So Foodtex is actually our 25th year anniversary this year. We started off from a humble beginning. So we started off as a seasoning blender house, and we supplied to a lot of snack and also instant noodle manufacturer. And in 1998, we started to expand our products to include value-added commodities such as garlic, chili, and onion. We do a lot of customization, so we can customize the flavor, the color, and also the appearance and the size. In year 2000, we moved to a bigger facility in the same industrial complex in Bekasi in Jakarta. This allows us to expand much faster as well. And starting in 2003, we went into meat extraction technology. We are actually one of the few companies that did meat extraction even until now. So what we do is we basically convert meat bones and also real meat into paste and powder. This is being used a lot in instant noodle and also in seasoning and also in processed meat industry. In 2005, we started expanding to international market. So we exported to halal countries in Middle East, in Africa, also to our neighboring Southeast Asia countries. And then in 2009, we went into a sweet seasoning. So before that, we are only focusing on savory, but starting in 2009, we started going into sweet drink premix, sweet ice cream premix. 2011, we started what we are going to talk about in this morning. So we launched ready-to-eat products. We don't do branded in Foodex because we just supply B2B, but we supply to food service and also to restaurants, and we also do OEM for branded products. We will be discussing this a bit further later on. In 2012, we moved to a brand new processing and warehouse facility. This is all in one facility. So starting from the sales, starting from the R&D and manufacturing, everything is in one facility. 2015, we invested in the spray drying. This is also to support our spice and also meat extract technology. And in 2016, we launched our newest creation under meat and cheese flavor X. This is a natural extract-based flavor that we catered for various kind of industry. And just recently, we obtained our FSSC certification. So we upgraded ourselves from being certified by ISO 22000 to FSSC 22000 as well. This actually allows us to expand even better globally because we really care about our quality and also our food safety. So that is a little bit about Foodex. So hopefully all of you get to know a little bit more about what we are doing. And this is 25 years. So we are celebrating silver anniversary this year. And this is our pillars. We believe in innovation, collaboration, and also in manufacturing expertise. So now we will come to our main topic, which is the ready-to-eat meal. I will start with discussing what is actually ready-to-eat meal. Well, ready-to-eat meal is food that can be eaten directly. So anything that can be eaten directly is actually under the loose category of a ready-to-eat meal. Saying so, the said meal has been prepared and has been cooked. Therefore, there is no additional needed for cooking or for preparation. If the customer prefer to actually heat it up or to put it in the fridge, that is okay. But the main point is that ready-to-eat meal is food that can be eaten directly. So this is just example of the pictures. As you can see, you can straight away open the pouch and directly eat from the pouch. A little bit of history of ready-to-eat meal. This actually has started since 1800. So ready-to-eat meal has started 200 years ago, which is quite a long while if we have a look at the history. This started in 1800. As we know, around 1800 to 1900, there were a lot of wars. So they all the military actually needs some way of preserving the food, because if you imagine, if you have a lot of people in the military and in the navy, in the naval, when they are going for a voyage in the sea, if you don't actually have food that can be preserved for a long time, that will actually be a lot of problem. So starting in 1800, Napoleon actually opened a competition. He opened a competition. Whoever can make long life self-stable food, they will be given a big prize. So in 1806, Nicolas Appert from France, he actually submitted his invention. What he saw during that time is that wine lasts for a long time. So what he saw is maybe if he put food in the glass jar, just like wine, maybe it can last. So that's what actually happened. He did a lot of experiments, and this is what we can see over here. This is called Appert jar. He put those foods in the jar, and he actually put a cork and seal it with a wax, just like how we did with the wine. And what he did after that is he actually boils it under a very high temperature. And he saw that all the foods that has undergone those kind of treatment actually have a long shelf life. So that is the start of what we know now as pasteurization, and even further is a sterilization process. And in 1812, canning factory started opening in USA. And in 1800 to 1900, there are actually being used a lot in the military and in the Navy. So there were abundance of canned foods during that time. The next generation of ready-to-eat meal is in the frozen food. We can see over here in the pictures, this was launched by Swanson Company at the time, and it's called TV diners. Why it's called TV diners? Because a lot of the time it's being used by people who like to watch TV and they want convenient, so they eat it in front of the TV. So one compartment of frozen food contains 2 or 3 kinds of meal, for example. And starting in 1960, research with the retort pouch was started by US Military Defense Department. So before this time, actually canned food has served military defense department well. But what they found out is that canned food is actually quite heavy. So they are looking for alternative that is actually easier to take during their training. So in 1960, there were research done on this. 1968, the first commercial product using a flexible retort pouch was launched. This was launched by Otsuka Chemicals in Japan. The brand was Bon Curry, and actually even until now, Bon Curry still exists, and it was still celebrating its anniversary. In 1971, 160 million pouch were sold in Japan. And in 1989, 1 billion pouch were sold in Japan. So as you can see, the growth actually was quite exponential. And in 1990, we can see a lot of commercial ready-to-eat flourishing. The growth rate was around 4 to 5%. And in 2000, there were also tuna in pouch that was a. So this is a little bit of history of ready-to-eat meals, just to give us a little bit of background. Now we come to ready-to-eat meal market. This ready-to-eat meal includes meals ready to eat, which is heat stable, and also microwavable meals. If we see here, this on the x-axis is the growth rate, and on the y-axis is the volume consumption. So as we can see here, in the worldwide ready-to-eat meal market, the biggest is actually in the Western countries, in Austria, Norway, UK, France, USA, Spain. This is actually already very established. So a lot of people actually consume ready-to-eat meal. But as you can see here, this actually lies in the low growth zone, meaning that although the consumption is a lot, but the growth rate is not very high anymore. It's below around 3%. On the other hand here, what we can see, the example of China. China is still growing in terms of the ready-to-eat meal market. We can see here from the research in Mintel, the volume consumption per capita is only around 3 to 4 kilo in comparison to USA that has reached around 8 8 kilo per capita. But you can see here that the growth rate is really high. It's more than 10%. So China is a very prospective market in terms of the growth rate and in terms of the market size. Even further, we can see if we zoom in the Asia Pacific, China is one of the leading in terms of the growth rate, but South Korea is even more interesting. South Korea is lower in terms of the consumption, but if we can see over here, South Korea has a very high growth rate. It's around 20%. Anything above 10% for growth rate is already considered very high. So South Korea is actually quite amazing in this respect. If we can see, the growth rate is around 20%. Indonesia, Malaysia, India, we are just starting. So it's still in the infancy of the ready-to-eat meal market. As you can see here, it's still at the bottom here, but growth rate is still around 4 to 5%. So it's still reasonably good. In terms of the packaging, there are many types of ready-to-eat meal packagings. The newest one and the recent one is the rigid containers. So there were some rigid containers that are being used for ready-to-eat meal, but more common is actually the pouch. This is example of the ready-to-eat rice. Also, this was launched in India. This is in Japan. This is Kimbo is in Indonesia. And also we see here pasta in Tetra Pak. So it's similar with Tetra Pak kind of UHT kind of packaging. For this session, we will focus mostly on the ready-to-eat meal in retort pouch. If we have a look at the retort pouch market, at the moment the size is around 3.5 billion US dollar. So it's a big market. And what is surprising and interesting is that 40% of the market is actually in Asia Pacific. So Asia Pacific consists a lot of the market in the retort pouch meal. The growth rate is around 5%. In brief, the production process is like this. In the beginning, there is a preparation, and then there is a big batch of cooking, filling into the containers, be it the retort pouch or rigid containers, and it goes into sterilization, and it went into cartoning. So we'll briefly touch on the technology of ready-to-eat meal as well. So retort technology is a process of heating food or drink in containers that are heat stable and at high temperature, usually around 121 degrees, under certain time to reach commercial sterilization. Commercial sterilization is very important because it means that it has to be sufficient to kill all the bacteria and all the spores of pathogenic bacteria and to deactivate all the enzymes action. Because only with this, we will get a long shelf life. So for ready-to-eat meal, there is no refrigeration needed. If we have a thing, this is actually very similar with a UHT milk, where milk is actually put in the container that is heat stable, and then it's heated up to high temperature, and it can actually last for a long time without preservative. So no refrigeration needed, just room temperature, no preservative required, and a shelf life of a minimum of 6 months up to 2 years. In terms of the technology, what is very critical is actually in the retort, because retort is where we can actually make sure that the products are actually shelf-stable for a long time. What is needed for a good retort and to determine the duration time? There are a few factors. One of them is packaging type. For example, whether you use can, retort pouch, glass jar, or rigid containers, this will all affect the duration time. Can will be longer compared to retort pouch because their can is actually thicker, so you would need more heat to penetrate the inside, the material inside. In terms of the packaging size, this also matters a lot. So the bigger it is, the longer time is needed to penetrate into inside. The content of the menu as well, in terms of the solid and liquid ratio, and also the retort machine type. Retort machine, there are many types of retort machines. There are water immersion, there are water spray. This all will affect the duration of retort time. So in terms of the technology, The balance is between sterilization, which is the food safety, or overcook. We don't want to overcook the food because it wouldn't taste good. But at the same time, we would need to make sure that the sterilization point and the sterilization temperature is actually reached. Just a little bit on the retort pouch. So retort pouch is flexible pouch that is specially designed to withstand retort temperatures. There are 3 or 4 layers depending on the needs. Usually this is consisting of polypropylene, nylon, aluminum foil, and polyester. 4 of these materials give different kind of function. So for polypropylene, this give flexibility and strength. For nylon, it's mostly resistance toward abrasion and toward puncture. Aluminum foil is a barrier to light and aroma. And polyester, this is the outside layer. This is to give a nice, glossy, printable packaging, because this is also very important in terms of marketing, and also to provide the strength. So packaging technology is very important. As long as the packaging is intact, then shelf life should be maintained above 6 months up to 2 years. Okay, now we will go into the relevance of ready-to-eat meal with COVID. This is the status on the 22nd of July. So confirmed status worldwide is quite high, 15 billions, with a death of 620,000. Indonesia has around 89,000 cases. This is almost 40% from the Southeast Asia cases, and the death is around 4,320. Well, our active cases is unfortunately still increasing rapidly, not only in Indonesia, but also in many parts of the world. And the transmission is likely to continue until there is a development in vaccine or medicine. But before that, I think we would need to live with the new normal. This is the highlight of the changes in the food purchase behavior during pandemic times. This is a very good graph from Innova. This was also given by Dr. Irene in her Zoom talk. What I would like to highlight here is what factors are important when people are buying food and beverage. Like we can see here in this x-axis, the highest or the biggest factor why people buy certain food products are the flavor. So people want good taste. This is number 1. Even if there are many other benefits, but if the flavor is not good, usually people won't do a repeat purchase. So flavor is very important. The second important aspect is health and also cost and brand. So cost and brand is important because cost is, of course, this will depend on how, in terms of the cost, for example, if we are actually marketing it in the lower segment, then cost becomes really, really important, because that means that some people may not be able to afford a premium products. So this is where cost actually matters. Health aspect as well. But what I would like to highlight here is the change in the importance during the pandemic times. Flavor, there is not much changes, because flavor has always and will always be the most important. But what is interesting over here is there are 2 or 3 things that are really, really going up in terms of the change in importance during pandemic times. Health aspect is 1. So we can see here, health increased very high. So people is very concerned about the health aspect of the food during pandemic time. Shelf life as well. Shelf life become high importance as well. Before that, it's not that important, but shelf life become very important during pandemic times. Cost and convenience also become important. So what this is saying is that, okay, flavor is important and will always become important. But during this time, we are also making sure that the health aspect of the food is taken care of. Convenience and also the cost is also taken care of, and as well as the shelf life. This is the consumer behavior during pandemic time. So people are looking at healthy eating. So people that are not really concerned about health before, now they are starting to eat vitamins. They are also starting to eat more healthy, because they know that they have to keep their immune system well to prevent themselves from getting the virus, for example. People are also concerned about food safety and sanitation. So they are looking at having their food, for example, for food delivery, they want to make sure that there is a primary, secondary, or even tertiary packaging. And they make sure that they have to wipe or they have to wash first before they actually open the package. And also the eating at home. This is also one of the main trend that is happening. So less people is eating out. They might do some delivery or some takeaway, but most of them prefer to eat at home. Okay. So in summary of COVID-19 and the consumer behavior, this was summarized by Forbes and also Bain Research. The first one is home cooking becomes more popular. 32% respondent cut out dining in the restaurant. They say that even after the lockdown is eased, when there is no more lockdown, they will still reduce eating out in the restaurant because they want to reduce the risk of contracting this disease. Southeast Asian customers in particular, they are even more conservative in comparison to US respondents, and they are even more reluctant to eat out in comparison to the US respondents. What is the relevance here? The relevance here is that people will increase usage in the cooking seasonings, in the ready-to-eat, in cooking aid or ready-to-eat meal kit, and also in the baking kit, because they want to do home cooking or they want to eat at home. The second point and second trend is the health and wellness. In terms of health and wellness, 73% starts to be more health conscious. This is very, very high. The relevance is that people will eat more healthy food, there will be more vitamin fortification in their food and beverage, and there is also an increasing trend of herbal drink and spices. At least in Indonesia, jamu, which is a traditional concoction of herbal drinks, this is also increasing in usage because people think that herbal drinks have good benefit for their health. And number 3 is food safety. They are concerned about how food is being handled, and they are worried on the transmission via food. Although the risk has been known as being extremely small, this is by the expert, but people are still concerned and they want to pretty much minimize or eliminate the risk. The relevance to this is canned food, prepackaged food, including ready-to-eat meal food, the consumption will definitely increase. Number 4 is the value for money. So during COVID-19, a lot of people get unemployed, increase of unemployment, and also unpredictable economy. So 57% respondents say that once the conditions stabilize, they will actually save money, especially for Asian respondents. 2 times more than US respondents says that saving money will be a top priority after pandemic. The relevance of this is that cheaper meal package will be ongoing trend. People will be looking for economical meal or way to do cost reduction without having a very significant impact. Number 5 is online groceries. So online grocery shopping will be increasing a lot. 48 respondents prefers to do online shopping now. Even elderly, more than 50 years old, who used not to be able to do or use applications, they use it for the first time and they find out that, wow, actually they can do a lot of shopping online and it's very, very complete. So this is actually changing the landscape and also the channel by which branded products can be actually marketed. Digital marketing and omni-channel, this will be increasing a lot, we see in this coming 1 to 2 years. Number 6 is the willingness to try new brand. Consumers have brand preference, but in the case where the preferred brand is not available, 40% is actually willing to try new brands. So what is this telling us? This is telling us that if existing brands are not careful, they might have actually more competition because there are more new upcoming brands. So during this time, people are more willing to try new brands because they think, okay, if it is not available, but I actually need this product, I will try on other brands. So when they try the new brands, if they have a good experience with that, they will stick to the new brands as well. So this is the FMCG emerging trends. As we can see over here, this is the total FMCG in Indonesia markets. We zoom in Indonesia market for the trends. We can see here that chilled food, packaged food, and dairy increase a lot. Personal care also, including the wipes, but what we can see here is the frozen food, canned food, and ready-to-eat meal food actually increase a lot. Why? Because people want to stock up some food in home, and they also think that packaged food will actually answer for convenience and for health and safety. This is from Happy Fresh. Happy Fresh is a platform, online platform for grocery shopping in Indonesia. What we can see here is that online groceries on average increased 61%, but there were several categories that has jumped really high. We can see here canned food increased threefold, 350%. This is really high. Frozen food as well. Frozen food increased twofold, 2 times. Staples like commodities such as cooking oil, also including the rice, this also increased, but not so high in comparison to the average increase, and healthcare as well. So over here, it's clear that frozen food, canned food, and healthcare will really become a priority as we go with this COVID. This is example of the ready-to-eat meals that are available in the market in Indonesia. This is Kimbo Kitchen. So example from PT Madusari Nusa Perdana. We actually manufactured for them. So this is their brand, but we actually do OEM for them. We manufacture porridge, also meals, and also dessert for this brand. So just as a nutshell, what is the relevancy of ready-to-eat meal in pandemic? There are several main points why we think ready-to-eat meal will flourish during pandemic and also post-pandemic. First of all is the complete nutrition, because in the pouch, these contain real meat and real vegetables. So it means that people don't need to be concerned about the nutrition that they are getting from the meals. And also there is no additional additives. People are concerned about the addition of preservatives, but actually for ready-to-eat meals, as long as the process is done correctly, there is no need for additional preservative. This is just the same like drinking UHT milk. Clean and hygienic. So this is all prepackaged and clean, and there is less post-processing human touch. So there is not much risk of actually contracting the virus after this is being processed actually. Practical, this is safe for direct consumption without heating or cooking. So, and also can be stored at room temperature. So if you can imagine people in the office, they might need to eat in their pantry. This will actually serve very convenient solution for them, because they can just pour it in the bowl and just heat it up in the microwave, and it's ready to eat. And also they have long shelf life with a minimum of 6 months to 2 years. So ready to eat meal anytime and anywhere. It's useful for family, so it can save time for family to prepare food. For medical person, this is also the same, because medical person, they wear full protective gear. They want something that is easy to eat. Office workers, as we are starting to ease down the lockdown in Indonesia, office starts to open up as well. They will need not only delivery food, but also maybe something that they can bring and they can eat in the office readily. For kids, this is also good because there is no preservative, and also for emergency. So for us, PT Foodex Ingredients, we are now focusing on only to B2B market, where we can make appetizers, meal, and desserts. So this is basically a nutshell of the relevancy of ready-to-eat meals in the pandemic times. And if you have any questions in the future, you are feel free to contact us at sales@foodexingredients.com. So thank you very much. This is our brief talk and sharing on the ready-to-eat meal.
Wow, Jenny, there is a lot of development with Foodex after I have, sorry. So a lot of development in food techs, because I have been in your factory before. That is
Yes.
very, very impressed. Okay.
Yes, Miss Rose, thank you.
So I would say that the concept of food techs nowadays not only supply the food ingredients, but you can do the OEM, the
Correct.
products like the appetizer meals according to the customer need to want to have it. And
Yep, that's right.
how big is the capacity and production of food techs nowadays in terms of
Our production capacity is around 50 tons, and it's actually still growing because we are doing a further investment as well.
This is for domestic market or export as well for the ready meal?
Both actually, Ms. Rose. So at the moment, we are also doing OEM for export.
All right. So thank you very much,
Thank
Jenny,
you.
and we see you again during the Q&A session.
Yes,
So
thank
the
you.
next topic, ladies and gentlemen, we and also concern on the branding, the costing. So from what we deliver the message to you guys during the webinar session run by Food Ingredient Asia, we bring the Innova Market Insight to share your experience. Dr. Poole from IPB to share about the food safety. So we have known that food safety is very much important in this pandemic, and even with our new next normal for our daily life. So today I have our guest speaker who is really experiencing on doing the film. So if you may see the product on my hand has a pouch and also some product in Thailand. Unfortunately, I cannot travel to Indonesia. Otherwise, I would bring some sample for you to see, like the film here for our ready meal, such the cup of egg here and some of the ready to eat of our well-known company here, like the wonton soup. So I would like to get one of our speaker, Mr. Saksit, to share about all those technology and the topic will cover on food processing and packaging of ready meal. Kun Saksit, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay,
Good morning.
so please, I give the stage to you.
Good morning, everyone. Everyone see my screen, right? So I am come from TPBI public company. So we are the plastic and packaging producer for food, for ready to eat food, ready meal food, and then other kind of consumable products. So I will, I will introduce quickly about our company, what we are doing, so we can understand our background, and then we will know what we can share with you. We are TPBI public company from Thailand. We are based in Bangkok, and then we are the producer and exporter of all packaging solution in Thailand, predominantly for the plastic. We have right now four business divisions. The first division is produce a plastic bag, packaging, recyclable packagings, and then the garbage bags, t-shirt bag, and piping bags. Second business unit is flexibles. So this is the one that really touch on the ready meal food packaging. So we do printing, laminating, slitting, and pouch making on the plastic packaging. Is a multi-layer plastic packaging. The third business unit that we are involved is paper. We have been in plastic business over 4 decades, 40 years, and then we have seen the trend that more or less or sooner or later paper and packaging and plastic have to be combined, or we have to make sure that our company strategy become stable. So we incorporate M&A with a paper company in UK a couple years ago back, and then this paper business unit doing like a paper cup, paper bowls, and then bakery papers bag, like a croissant, bread bags, something like this. The last business unit is for green and innovation plastic packaging. We develop for the compostable paper cup, the cup that coating with bioplastic. So when this degrades, so it will be fully degrade 100%. We do the compostable or biodegradable garbage bag. So you can throw away your organic food, organic waste in that, and then it will go on in the landfill or in the compost site. So this is a 4 business unit that TPBI company is doing. So today we would like to share the view in general. It's just like a big picture as we see as a packaging producer who really in close relationship with food manufacturing company, not only in Thailand, but all around the world. So I want to start with a quick look overview what we have been through in the market in the last 6 months for now. You can see that 3 out of 6 points that I am raising right now in this page is relating with just happened just in the last 6 months. The first one, we have to accept that COVID-19 is really changing the world, changing the way we live, changing the way we do business, and then changing the way we raise our children also. The second one is the social distancing. Of course, the COVID-19 is one of the thing that accelerate the social distancing things. So you can imagine what will relating to our ready meal products. You can think about travel industry. When you travel in the airplane, and then before you can order anything you want to eat, and then the stewardess and air hostess, they serve you whatever they do in the previous way. But nowadays with social distancing, they might not serve you on the food on the plane anymore, or maybe they just make sure that the food packaging that they're going to serve you on the plane might have some seal, some cover that feel safe enough for both sides, not only for the airplane company, but for the passengers also. Third one is the food delivery. We already see in the previous presentation that food delivery is really growing up. So it's a big trend, no matter what is COVID-19 happen or not, is already in the big stage of growing now. Next one is some people call new normal, some people call next normal, but we have to understand that until we have the vaccine, we must live in the world with face mask, face shield, hand gel, or even work from home. So this kind of behavior that will change the shape of market forever. The next one is a sustainability packaging. So we all know that just 1 year or 2 years ago, we have been in talk a lot in how to make the world becoming more the better place to live, how to reduce the waste, the garbage to the ocean, to the marine. And then this still one of the one of the hot topic that we as a company and consumer have to be thinking about a lot. And next, the last one is what will be in the next 10 years, 2030. So we don't know yet, but we can just predict and then see what we will live with that. For the packaging trend with COVID-19, so it's going to be two main things. The first thing is online delivery. It's happened all over the world. We all know that human beings would like to eat something really good and feel nice. But when you cannot dine in the restaurant during the lockdown in your countries or even in Thailand, we always like need and crave for the good food. Let's look at some statistics in Thailand that I have found. So food delivery has increased at least like 100% since January 2020. So from the photo, we can see that a lot of Grab, Lineman, Lalamove, or Food Panda, they are all growing a lot. The next one is from the research. We all know that over 40% of the respondents say they would use more online delivery, online platform to order their grocery, order their food, order their shoppings. So it's a big trend that online delivery have to be playing a big part of that. Next one is when we have COVID-19, we see a lot of food packaging. We even talk about big plastic bag ban in the recent period, like starting from Europe, like 15 years ago in the UK, the supermarket in Europe stopped giving free away shopping bags, and then it's spread out from that all around the world in other countries in Europe, in Asia, in America, and then in Australia. That is in Thailand, beginning of this year, 1st January of 2020, we have banned the plastic bag and all the single-use plastic straws, shopping bags, cups, and everything. However, during the COVID-19, we see that single-use plastic become a hero again in this pandemic situation. Why? Because we are concerned about food safety and hygienics. So we use more in a single-use plastic for the COVID-19. And then with the food delivery rising, we all know that food delivery require more packaging. You imagine plastic cutlery, tray, film to wrap, napkins, or even wet tissues. So these all make the plastic waste increase at least 30% all around the world during the recent months of 2020. So what is the next technology for ready meal and ready to eat food? So these 4 technology is the main highlight for me today. So we will see that we were talking about packaging sustainability, we were talking about safety and hygiene, and e-commerce packaging model, and then digitalization of the value chains. So first, packaging sustainability. As a packaging producer like us, we cannot avoid that the sustainability is one of the key things, not only the global players around the world, but also regional and local players have to pay more attention on this. Before I go deep into the detail of the sustainability, so I would like to explain more a little bit of the circular economy and then the linear economy. I don't know how many of you get used to in the word of circular economy, but I give example of linear economy. So you imagine we are human people. Let's say in the Middle East, we have the oil mine, and then we do the oil refinery. We get the oil from some country, from the oil well, and then we extract the oil to do the gasoline, to do the C4, C2 to make the plastic resin, and then we use that resin to convert into the plastic packaging, trays, straws, pouches. After that, we send the pouches, the trays to the food making company, and then they put out the food, they do some sterilization, retort, and then they send to retailers. After that, we, as a consumer, we go to the shops, right? We either order online or shopping on the physical stores, and then we eat that things, we eat that noodles. After use, we throw away. So this is all linear. So it's starting from the oil mine until the pouches, food maker, until consumer that eat and then throw away. So everything you can see, it will be just like beginning to the end, from left to right. But for circular economy, we can see from the slide that it will starting with the resources that, okay, we have oil mine, we do some manufacturing of the plastic pouch, we do food, we make food, and then after we consume the products, we do have two choices. The green arrow on the right hand side is a recycling. The left hand side is the other one is for the waste. So you just throw away. So if you throw away, it will become linear economy, which will make something really effect to the marine life, for example. So we choose to go with circular economy, and then we not just only our company, but we all as a consumer have to make sure that circular economy will happen. We must join hands with brand owners. We must join hands with consumer. We must educate the government agency to understand that this is the most efficient way of doing better things for environmental. So come back to packaging sustainability, we can see that other countries, for example, in European countries, they define that in the next 10 years, 2030, define 70% of the packaging must be recyclable. And then the next normal in the packaging, company have to rethink about material to use, and then requirement, and then more sustainable packaging. So in this one, come back since the beginning, it is very difficult to recycle the multi-layer packaging. When you have several types of material in that, let's say PET, aluminum foil, and then PP. How can separate that? This is very difficult, and then it's not economical to do that. But we still have to use that for a while. But some technology in packaging already happens to make it good for recycle. Third one is a circular economy. We must go by because to reduce the environmental footprint, to generate more income, and then better service to extend the lifespan. So this is the very, very important for not only packaging producer like us, but for food companies who's really doing business with the consumer. This slide is I got example from McKinsey. This one good example of the idea, just the design concept of multi-layer packaging. As I said earlier, when you have multi-layer films, it's nearly impossible to recycle. The only way that we are doing right now is to incineration. So put in the incineration to get some energy back, but it's not really how to say economy. So it's not feasible at all. So from this picture, you can see that from the left hand side, we have the pouch, and then after seal, we can decide on purpose to make the two layers separate from the third pictures. And then the fourth picture, fourth and fifth picture, we separate, and then make sure that each layer put in different bins, and then we can recycle it. This is the way of the circular economy that might happen. So this is, again, this is just a concept idea, one concept idea. Another concept idea is to go with what we call mono material. So it will be 2 or 3 layers of the films of the pouch, but it made from the same material, and then it will yield up to the good oxygen transmission rate and water vapor transmission rate to the current packaging state. So we will develop this one all together. Next trend is safety and hygienic. You know that with a pandemic of COVID-19, we think as a consumer, we believe that this is one of the top priority in mind for the food making company and then for the consumer. So brand owner must make sure that the packaging design have to be clean and safe when consumer buy, no matter what is an individual pack, is separated pack, or is a functional pack. And then there are some research show that, okay, the COVID-19 virus can live in some substrate up to 48 hours, 30 hours, or even 1 week, depends on the environment. So on the plastic, they have been saying that the virus can stay up to like 2 days. So we have to live with that for a while, and then the brand owner must make sure that they clean enough, and then they make sure that consumer that will get that product will get the right and then safe and hygiene products. With the safety and hygiene, there's one technology that might be able to help in the really near future. It's called traceability system. We all do have the traceback system in the food industry, I know that, but with the AR technology, with the QR or even blockchain, we can embed that technology in the packaging, in some of your pouches or some of your million pouches that you sell in a month. So you can even track that. Okay, where is my product right now? And then just ask consumer to scan the QR code, and then the QR code will link the information back that, okay, I scanned this one in Bangkok, Thailand today, 10 a.m. So the brand owner will have the database back in their cloud system. Okay, this one of the million pouches that I sell last month is in Bangkok right now, and I as a consumer is going to eat or drink this one at the moment. So you can do something more with a trace back and then safety reason, or even consumer can just claim that, oh, this pouch is breaking, is not good for eat. So you can, as a brand owner, you can use this one as a feedback. It's a real and actual feedback from your consumer. Don't have to go with a third party research or the interview. Next one is e-commerce. We have to believe that the internet has changed the way we do shopping. We all know that e-commerce has been around for a long time, and then this is the right time to say that e-commerce is really big things that make Mr. Jeff Bezos is the richest man on earth right now, the owner of Amazon.com. So we cannot ignore e-commerce things, e-commerce trend. Even we are thinking that, okay, we are food company, we consumer would like to eat fresh and don't want to eat something that feel like it's a long time cooking before. But with current today technology, I think it will help a lot with the good pasteurization, good retortations. So this will help e-commerce growing a lot. And then when you talking about e-commerce for the packaging, you have to think about how to fit the design of the packaging into the e-commerce, how convenient it is when it's come to a stage of delivery, and keep it easy to use, easy to open. And then the pack size must be suitable. You cannot send like 1 kg or 2 kg or 5 kg of rice back all the time. So with the people and then consumer behavior change to stay in a smaller family size or even less population rate. So we have to think about how to make your pack size is suitable for your target group. And then have to develop new delivery mechanism for packaging and shelf ready packaging. So this slides show the very good example of packaging design for e-commerce is again from McKinsey, because this one just has released 2 weeks ago. So I think it's very useful to share with all the participants today. So from these 8 things, I would say as a food industry players, we have to think about food protection. We have to think about tamper proof, think about how to make it rapid filling, ship ready, and then track and trace. I think this is the 5 things that seem to be key and important factors for me for the food packaging and then the e-commerce. Last one is the digitalization of the value chain. So it will, we all see that this increased digitalization in the value chain through the automation of the widespread of AI. Why? Because now we can do a lot of things, even design your own packaging on your favorite chocolate bars. So there's some brands owner around the world that already done this one, printing your own picture with your girlfriends in in your KitKat packaging. So digitalization can do many things. And then digital printing can help brand owners to expand to the new market and variety of product. You can imagine the packaging that doesn't have to print according to your printing plate charge or your minimum MOQ from your printer or packaging company. We have the technology to do digital printing on demand. You can print 100 pieces, 100 pouch, or 1,000 pouch just for only exhibition for next year. So this really helps for small lot production and seasonal flavor for the food manufacturer. And then last one, we all know that the technology is very advancing right now. We can even thinking about putting RFID or NFC tag into the packaging. As I talked earlier in the previous slide, that is either QR code or RFID or NFC tag is to make you track and trace your customer. And then your customer, maybe this is the only new channel that you can contact and then communicate with your consumer directly. So that's the end of my presentation. So as I going to summarize, so there's a 4 key trends to be aware on the COVID-19 on the food packaging, and then to be let you know that TPBI we do have some monomaterial packaging to help and support for the circular economy, and then which I believe that it will be the big things in the next couple of years. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Kun Saksit, and it's very nice information in regard to the packaging and about the trend of the packaging, that even we have to adjust to the trend of consumer going for more of e-commerce. And I would like to advertise here, whoever want to produce your products with the small volume, you can contact Kun Saksit at TPBI. I read about the story, you invest a big machine that like 50 million meters machine just recently. Can you share us a bit on the new technology that TPBI has been invest and welcome for the customer to use service?
Okay, so we have invested a digital printing machine from HP. It's a big HP 20,000, so it's suitable for packaging, producing. Before, HP is very strong in the label and advertising ad, so it's small width of the printing machine. But with this model of the HP machine, it's really big enough to make your 30 centimeter by 30 centimeter pouch. So it's big enough, and then even smaller size is no problem. So we can do all kind of pouch, and then we predominantly focus on the food packaging. So it will really make sure to you that, okay, you have the high quality packaging for your product. We certify all ISO 20,000, 22,000. We have BRC IOP for food safety standard also.
And the service cover in Thailand only, or also the neighboring countries and in ASEAN?
I think we service all. We sell not only in Thailand, we sell to Australia, to UK, and then to ASEAN countries also. Like we have one good customer in Malaysia also. Thank you.
Okay, so we will come back to the Q&A session together with Kun Saksit again in next 30 minutes. So now come to the last speaker of today. We have heard about the food hygiene, food safety, health concern, and also about how to make the food quality, serve the nutrition with the process with the ready meal. So now I would like to invite our guest speaker from Kasetsart University, Assistant Professor Dr. Kanithapon Wangnai. She will talk about the food safety for the food industry, focusing on the ready-to-eat meal. Yeah, please, Ka.
Thank you, Ms. Rose. All right, good morning, everyone again, and thanks Informa Markets and Food Ingredient Asia for inviting me to share the talk on the food safety. And today we are going to focus on the food safety for ready meal industry. I listened the talk from Ms. Jenny and Mr. Saksit. It's quite interesting, and everyone saying the same page for our new normal. Like as the common for us during these 4-5 months, we have to work at home. We stay at home a lot. We cook at home, we bake at home, we grow the vegetables at home more. So this is the new normal that it hasn't be like before. And also we order the food delivery service more than before. To go buy the food at the grocery store, we go to grocery store less often, and we usually buy more food each time. So this is our new normal, and I think that is going to continue as our normal in the future. This is the survey from around the world that to survey that what people actually bought during this COVID-19 situation, and they collect all the information. And it's common that the fresh produce, the marketing share of the fresh produce has been lower. This is because when the consumer go to grocery store, less frequency. So ability to buy fresh produce is also lower as well. They don't have the refrigerator to, like put all the food in the kitchen. So what they do, they buy more the frozen food or shelf-stable food products more. And this is kind of challenge, and this is the opportunity for the frozen food products and also shelf-stable food product industry. So come to the ready meal products, and during the COVID situation that we stay at home, the market share on the ready meal products has been increased as well, because people stay home and they don't want, sometimes they don't want to cook like every meal. Ready meal products, actually it doesn't have like a definition, the exact definition, but usually it related with a meal that has been already prepared and fully cooked. When consumers bought it, it just required to heat, and often they use the microwave to heat it up before being served and consumed. And this is become very common and important this day, and this is why we are in the webinar today. So today, my further talk will be cover these 3 topics. The first one, I will give a little bit idea about the ready meal that actually Ms. Jenny talked a little bit about this already. And the second part, I will talk about the COVID-19 and the food safety, emphasize like the ready meal products. And the last part, I will touch on how we are going to strengthen using technology or innovation to strengthen the food safety of the ready meal products. As Ms. Jenny mentioned before about the history of the ready meal. Ready meal is quite interesting that around 1950, it actually come from the one guy who's selling the turkey, and his name is Swanson. And that is the turkey during the Thanksgiving leftover a lot. So he's thinking, what should he do? So he put in the tray together with the vegetables and also with the mashed potato and frozen and selling in that way. Consumer love it very much. And from that point, there are varieties of the menu, and also they add some like dessert, like the apple pie, the fruit salad in the tray as well. So from that point, from the older frozen ready meal that put in the metallic tray, and the older people need to heat it up in oven because the microwave is still not available at that time. Come to today, the packaging technology is very, very modern right now. So we can put the ready meal in the microwavable tray, and that is like varieties of the packaging materials. And also we have the food technology to make the food tastier, healthier. So the real ready meal product become very common. We can buy it from the convenience store. We can buy it from the supermarket. So it's become common and very popular right now. So if you would like to group the ready meal products, I would like to group in these 3 groups. The first one is the ready meal that we call it frozen ready meal. For sure, when we buy it, we have to go to the freezer to get it. And we have to keep it in the freezer that temperature around minus 18 degrees Celsius. Another one is the chilled ready meal. We put in the refrigerator temperature around 4 to 5 degrees Celsius. And another one is the shelf stable ready meal. And for this type of the product, we don't have to put in the refrigerator and the freezer because it passed through the technology that already destroy all the bacteria, the microorganisms. So we can keep it long time at the room temperature by using like retort and the new technology like non-thermal process like high pressure. So it can keep at the room temperature 6 months, 1 year. So these are the 3 groups of the ready meal products these days. And I would like to share the information that I get from Mintel, such a nice information. They do the research on the ready meals of the Thai retail market. So they collect the data since 2013 and predict till 2022. So it is obviously that the market value of the ready meals in Thailand is increasing these 10 years, and it predict to be increased in the future as well. So if we look closely about the group of the ready meals, the frozen ready meal is still win the game. They have like 50% market segmentation, followed by chilled and shelf stable. Chilled is interesting that for the chilled ready meal, it become more popular and popular during these 4-5 years. And we expect to see increasing trend of the chilled segment because people, lots of people feel like they don't want to eat frozen food sometimes. So they would like to eat food that kind of close to the freshly cooked. And if we're talking about the company market share of the Thai ready meals market, the big company like CP Food is take 50%, almost half. And the last is the company like Unilever, S&P, Plantale, and other companies. The challenge of ready-to-eat meals in Thailand is like the product needs to be compete with the freshly street food. Street food is everywhere. But I think this is the time that people is more concerned about hygienic condition, a lot about food safety. So some people doubt about street food because we don't know about like hygienic condition, what kind of the raw material they used and how they, how clean of the raw material of the cooking materials. So this is the time that people turn themselves to buy more ready meal that make from the food industry and sell in the supermarket more. So the key is the hygienic is the key for the consumers that they are looking for right now. And in the future, even now, we start to see the ready meal that more healthy. Before we see the pizza, before the macaroni that have like the very high energy, high carbohydrate. But right now, we start seeing something more healthy. We see the chunk of the vegetables put in the tray. We start seeing the berry rice, brown rice, and put in the tray as well. And also some of the ready meal tray is control the calorie and tell the consumer how much calorie they are going to eat and provide a low calorie product. So this is the trend for the ready meal in the future. So move to my second part, which is the COVID-19 and the food safety. I would like to give some information about the COVID-19 that we talking a lot these days. COVID-19 is the name of the disease, coronavirus disease, COVID-19, that caused from the virus severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, and we call SARS-CoV-2. Why we call SARS-CoV-2? Because the structure of the virus is close to the virus that caused SARS disease that has been outbreak in 2003 in Asia and around the world. So if you look closely at the virus 3D structure, there are the circle and there are the little spike, the little kind of hump around the surface. And this one is the protein, is the spike protein, and make it very unique to infect with the human. And it is very important for food industry to understand what is the components of the virus in order to block them, not let them contaminate the food. And if you look close, the out layer of the virus is the lipid membrane. And I will talk more how it's important. And for mode of transmission of this virus, as we know that this virus can transmit via respiratory tract. So it is the respiratory infections. So when we talk, there is some droplet, respiratory droplet come out from our mouth. And when we cough, when we sneezing, there are a lot of droplets coming out. So the transmission of the virus is come from the respiratory, the contact between hand, like shaking hand, hug, or touching of the contaminated surface. This is why we have to do like social distance. We have to wear masks. We have to clean our hand very often. And that is the evidence that has been talked around last month that that is the report finding this virus in the fecal as well. So it is recommended that if we go to toilet and when we finish it, when we want to flush it, put the toilet lid down and flush it to prevent spreading the virus in the toilet. However, until now, no report of the fecal oral transmission of the COVID-19. And this is very important, come to the food. People worry very much. And from our point of view, we think, oh, it could be happen like if the sick people touch the bag and then we touch the bag or touch the food, something like that. But fortunately, until now, there is still no evidence of food or food containers or food contact surface or food packaging being associated with the transmission of COVID-19. No evidence right now. So COVID-19 is not known to be a foodborne disease. This is everyone agree right now. So, however, there is some report again that the COVID-19 virus can survive on the surface. And that is the recommendation to, after we touch the surface, we better wash our hand or leave the parcel or packaging for 1 or 2 days to unpack it, something like that. So And last month as well, that is the news that they found the COVID-19 virus on the cutting board of the salmon. No, but after they track back and find the evidence, it is still obviously that the COVID-19 virus cannot infect it on food. It can contaminate in food if somebody like coughing, infected people coughing on the cutting board. But salmon itself, it cannot infect it with the COVID-19 virus because this kind of virus require a living host to multiply like human. If they stay in the cutting board not really long, they can, they gone, they died. But if they infect in our human body, they can multiply. It's different from the bacteria, right? If the bacteria contaminate on the cutting board and the condition is optimum for them, they can grow more. So this is different, and fortunately for this kind of virus. So it is still recommend that we shouldn't eat raw food during this time, and recommend to cook the food until reach the recommended cooking temperature. And this is, I would like to mention that for, let's say, for Thai people as well, Asian people, is not yet used to using the thermometer to measure the temperature. So maybe this is the time, like when we cook the steak, when we cook the big piece of food, it is important to put the thermometer to measure at least until our internal temperature reach the safe temperature. So if we ask like, so, and how we are going to make the food safe? As the food production system, food industry, food SME, food production lines, I would say, please continue to follow food safety standard regulation or guidelines, whatever you are doing right now, like GMP, SSOP, HACCP, that is perfect. However, what you have to add extra is, since we know that the virus can transmit through the respiratory system, we must reinforce the good hygiene practice, especially strict on the personal hygiene is crucial. Social distance, wear masks, and wash the hands. This is very important that the people who touch the food need to be strictly follow this. So if we're talking about the ready meal production, that is the different scales in the industry. For the big scale right now in the big plant, they do automation. They know not many human, not many people involved in the processing line. So it's kind of easy to control. And that is very slim chance that the virus or the other pathogenic organisms can, contaminate that with the food, because everything is automatic and no people, no human is get involved that much. And this is the video that I get from the YouTube, and they have like the knife to cut the pizza, cut the sandwich, and it's quite nice. Because if we don't do like this, imagine that people need to use knife, touch with their hands, even they wear the glove, and cut it by using the manual cutting. So this way we can avoiding the human touching. However, in the ready meal production, small or medium scale, there is still a lot of activity that human need to be involved. And since ready meal products, they have rice, the meat, the vegetables that has to fill, so it still need the labor from the human to put them together. So if the activity is still related with the human work, this must be very strict on the personal hygiene. And we have told that we have to wash our hands with soap. This is not just the soap. If you look at this video, you will understand why we have to use the soap. Since we already tell that the outside of the virus is the lipid membrane, is the fat membrane. And if we run the water through the virus is still alive. However, in the soap, there is the surfactant compound. This compound could reduce the surface tension between water and oil because they have this surfactant in the molecule. They have the part that attract the water and another part that attract the oil. So they can reduce the surface. So when we wash the hand with our soap, the soap could interfere the membrane outside the virus, and the virus can be died with this way. So this is very powerful of just the soap. And not just the soap. Another thing, you have to wash your hand at least 20 seconds to allow time that soap working that job. So this is the very nice video. They show that they put the oil on their hand to represent the virus that have the lipid membrane outside, and wash the hands, compare 5 seconds, 10 seconds. You still see that there is the oil it deposit on the hands. But if we increase the washing times to 20 seconds, no oil left. And another thing that we have told that we use the alcohol. Yes, alcohol is work as well in order to interfere the lipid membrane of the virus. But make sure that you use the alcohol that have the percent that more than 60%. So make sure that you wash your hands with soap at least 20 seconds. For another another point of safety of the ready meal. So I would like to point out, this is not about the COVID-19, but there is some outbreak about the Salmonella, which is the pathogenic bacteria. So for the ready meal product, it is important that you have to keep your product in the temperature that it should be. Say if it's chill temperature, you have to keep your product around 4 to 5 degrees Celsius, not room temperature. The frozen product as well, you have to keep your product at a certain temperature like -18. If we, missing doing that, there is some maybe the dangerous thing like an outbreak that happened before. And for ready meal products, that is the recall products that we have seen from the website from time to time. And this is the example. They do the mislabel of the product. They put the milk, but they didn't label the milk in the product. This is as well, they put in the wrong packaging. And this is the physical hazard. They found the piece of rubber in the product, so they have to recall this product. This is also the ready meal product. Okay, and come to my last part. The question is that nowadays with the technology that we have, how we are going to enhance or strengthen the food safety of the ready meal products. We have to know first, what is the challenge of the ready meal industry? First, food contamination, virus, bacteria, and also unsuitable cold chain logistics. As I said, the ready meal separate into 3 groups: frozen, chilled, and also the room temp. So if the chilled and frozen, we have to take a good care of this product to make it proper cold chain logistic along the way, And another challenge, food fraud, adulteration, and food mislabelings are the ones as well. For the food contamination, what kind of technology that we can help to reduce the contamination? So contamination mostly from the human, especially the COVID-19. So if we put the automation like robot cooking, this is the example, we can reduce the activity from the human. And this is not just the robot, they do the research how to make the food good and get the Michelin chef star to get involved to make the good food. And this is kind of prototype of the restaurant in the US that developed by the students, engineer student with the chef with the food science. And this is interesting. And this can be the technology in the future to develop the ready meal products. Another one that is interesting is the intelligence packaging. So this is the example of the label we call time temperature indicator label, we call it TTI. This label we can put on outside the food. And it's useful because it can tell the consumer what when food have been temperature abused. Because if the food exposed to the high heat, the label will show that, okay, it doesn't look good. Or if the food keep at the right temperature along the way, the label will say, okay, it's safe to eat. So this is the way that can make your product and people can trust about the safety of your products more. So this can be the future trend of the ready meal products. Another one that Mr. Saksit has already mentioned about the traceability, or another word is transparent labeling. Consumers these days would like to know where their food comes from. Like if they eat the animal, say the beef, they would like to know who raised the cow. Is cow being raised in the good condition, what they eat, something like that. So people would like to know more this information for their safety, for their health. So they use this information if they know to kind of make decision what kind of food they are going to buy. And some of the certain people has the specific disease that need to avoid some chemical, something like that. And in order to doing that, we can do manual, but right now we have the technology called IoT or blockchain. It means like in every single part, they collect the data and put together in the blockchain. For example, this is the packaging of the fresh pork. I am going to buy this one, but I want to know who raised this pig and how it's raised, what is fed, and this is information I want to know. And this is the example how they collect the data. First, in the farm, the farmer put the information of the pig that they raised, like age, weight, gender, and put up on the blockchain. In the farm, when the veterinary come to give them kind of vaccine or check the health history, they put together in the blockchain. The animal science collect the diet information and put together. Come to the slaughterhouse, they collect the data of the animal that they are going to slaughter. Come to the meat supplier, they process the meat, put in the pack, and they process all the information, generate one QR code and put on the package. And at the supermarket, this is the consumer side. When we want to buy, we just need one cell phone, scan it, and all the information that they want, it come right away in second. So this is what people would like to know in the future. And also the traceability or this kind of system will help to track the cold chain logistic. To track that, where is the mistake that we cannot control the temperature proper. And also if there is the contaminated food or damaged food happen at the end, they can track very fast where it come from and where it distribute, and they can recall it very fast. That is the case study from Walmart about the mango. They would like to know, say, when they stay at the Walmart, this mango, who planted the mango? If they don't use the technology and the blockchain to keep the data together, they need 7 days to check back. However, with this technology, they can reduce to 2.2 seconds in order to get the information, everything about this fruit, this mango. So this is quite nice and could be things that people would like to see in the future. All right, and this is all my talk. And if you have questions, feel free to ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ka. So right now we come to the last part of the presentation today about food safety. It is very clear that the COVID is not foodborne disease. It's about COVID has to have the carrier. So the things is that food hygiene is very important. Start from whatever food that related to human, the hand sanitization has to take it into the serious action for all human. Okay, so now may I invite all of the 3 speakers to open the video together to join the Q&A session, please. Okay, Ka. So may I have this question to all 3 speakers? Because there is a lot of SME audience that joining in the session. There is a question about for the ready meal or ready to eat, ready to cook, what will be the challenge that SME should be prepared apart regard to the food safety, how they could control, and if SME want to turn themselves to do the ready meal, so what they should do. So may I start from Jenny, please?
Hi, Miss Rose. So yes, we had a look as well. There are a lot of trends of small SME as well as home industry who is moving to produce frozen ready-to-eat as well as ready-to-eat meal during this COVID time as well. Actually, there are a lot of opportunities and the market is there. But one of the highlights, as you mentioned before, is mostly in the safety and the consistency of the products. So for the safety of the product, what is most important is to have a good hygiene practice. So just like in the industry, even if it is a small enterprise, there would need to be a standardized good hygiene practice, because this will ensure that the food is safe until it reaches the consumer. And second point for SME, which is important as well, I think, is the consistency of the food product. So what is often happening is in a small scale, sometimes we can make a nice food, but when we actually scale it up or make it in the larger scale, the organoleptic might be different. So the challenge is really when they want to upscale, how to actually maintain the safety by having the good hygiene practice, and also how to have the consistency of the products.
So right now, may I invite Kun Saksit Ka.
So hello. Yeah, for the SME, small and medium enterprise, I think the most important to start in the food industry is to be flexible. Don't start step by step. I have seen a lot of startups in food industry in Thailand, and then we have worked with them really closely. So many good startups have very good vision and good future, but what I have seen is like they must stay in the real world, start by step. The technology is there, the customer is there, so must make sure that you know where and who is your target market, and then start with smaller scale. You don't have to produce on yourself everything since day one. You can just OEM, you can just even doing some the market testing. Like for example, you want to sell sushi, but you don't have to make your own sushi in the tray box. You just buy and then you just taste the price, because making the food to be in the food market is very many factors: pricing, taste, and packaging, and then delivery, logistics, so everything. So just don't do everything on your own in the very first day. Just try to test concept first. If the concept is right, the price is okay, customer can buy your price. So it means you can try on your second phase, like, okay, you cook on your own sushi or your own fried rice and your own test, and then you try with your family, your friends, your group of friends, and then try to expand that a little bit before you launch. Another thing for the small and medium players at the moment is try to be on your own channel, because if you go with your traditional retail, you have to reduce your own margin 30-40%, etc. So it's better and smart way you try on your online, your Facebook fan page, your line, your whatever social medias that could really help you to start up at the very first and beginning. And then I have seen a lot of brands going through this channel also, and then they don't really have to be into the traditional or brick and mortar store at the beginning. So it's kind of combination between your plan, your strategy, but first thing, find your target customer first.
Okay, thank you very much. For the Doctor, are you ready?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Actually, I agree with Ms. Jenny and Mr. Saksit, but I will add the point here that there is the SME come to talk with us as we are the university, and most of them is actually step up from the restaurant. So my recommendation, if your first product, the chill or the frozen, is quite hard in terms of the logistics. So if you step up to do like the room shelf stable, it will be easier to control. And then once it's solid, you may step to like the chill and the frozen. And in this way, it will make your way more solid. So this is my idea.
So we get the idea for the SME audience already on the ready meal. So come to the question about the nutritional fact in the ready meal. What I would ask like to the three of you from your perspective as well. May start from Dr. Kanitapon. The question is, when the products in the ready meal was passed through the process that sharing by Jenny, that going to very high temperature, when we are saying that COVID cannot stay, the virus cannot stay at this much temperature. So the question is, how we make sure that the ready meal, it's easy, convenience, but it's also deliver the nutrition value.
Yes, this is kind of balance. If we use high heat, we have to admit that the nutrition will be lower. This is why what the scientists, what the researcher doing right now, we find a way to process the food by using non-thermal process that become very, like the big thing right now. We use kind of omic, we use the high pressure, we use the radio frequency, for example. So this is the way that will go in the future. But I would say this is maybe for the big company, not the small company, but this is the way it's go.
So Jenny, any idea from you?
Yes, For sure, just like what Professor has said as well, thermal processing, for sure there will be some impact on the nutritional value. But what we are trying to do is actually to minimize the thermal process to a safe level, but at the same time, not so much until it's overcooked that all the vitamins are lost. That's why it's very important when we are determining the process to actually meet a balance point where it's actually safe, but at the same time, the taste and also the nutritional effect is actually not so much. This is also one of the benefits of using retort pouch. Because retort pouch is thinner, flexible packaging is thinner. So that's why the heat that is required in terms of the length of the time is actually shorter compared to rigid, or for example, compared to cans. In this way, we can try to maintain better in terms of the taste and also the nutritional value. But yes, there is some effect of heat on the nutritional value, and that's why we try to balance it.
All right, so now come to Kun Saksit, who is expert on the packaging and with his experience sharing on the concern that consumer raise.
Actually, for this point is more on the scientific matter. So I really not so confident to share, but I definitely agree with the two previous answers that both ladies already answered, that it's nature that when you use higher temperature, it's definitely make the taste duller and then make the ingredients becoming somewhat dead or lower than natural or the fresh one. This is what I really know. So I
no problem, so
I
just like want to ask in the perspective, because you do a lot of film that provide to the products that selling in the mini mart in Thailand, I would say. So
yes.
Many products already go for additional like microwave things. So you might hear the feedback. That's why I raised this question. Also throw to you. Okay, so come to the next question. Is go to Dr. Kanithaporn. So because you share about the soap effect and how to sanitize hand, which is the more effective for washing hands or using hand sanitizer on the alcohol like 7 to 80%? Yeah.
Yes.
This question from the food factory.
All right. Thank you for the question. Actually, I have read and learned from the FAO website and or the WHO website. They actually confirm that washing the hand with soap is more effective than using the sanitizer. So using sanitizer, you have to make sure that the alcohol concentration level is more than 60%. And also if your hands wet or dirty, when you use the alcohol gel, it reduces the efficiency. So they still recommend to wash hand with the soap and further put the sanitizing on the hands. That will be the perfect ones.
Thank you very much. So this question, I would say to three speakers, if you can answer, you just like raise your hand. This question is, if I'm going to supermarket, I bought the ready to eat package that is in the frozen, in the fridge, and then I buy from the supermarket, then I have to carry it back to my home. What is the timing before I going to put in the fridge again? Because I think the audience want to know how to handle it in order to make sure it's not spoil the food inside, and how to have the best food in hand after deliver from the supermarket that freeze till home. Okay,
I can be the first one who answer this. Well, this is it actually depends on many factors. So if my opinion, you should put back to the temperature that it should be as soon as possible. But I would say like 2-3 hours is still okay, you know. But if you live in your car like the whole day, that will be not safe. And it's depend. It's not safe. It means how much load of the microbial in the product. That is very, very important. If your product made from the company or the restaurant that have the very bad sanitation, you have the very big load in your product. Maybe in 1 hour or 2 hours, your product will turn bad or it's not safe. So it's depends, but my opinion is you should make it as soon as possible.
So I may ask the trend back to คุณศักดิ์สิทธิ์นะคะ most of the packaging you have done from your experience on the label, it start covering the temperature that they should keep already, or there is a new technology on smart packaging that can QR code and doing what is the trend that you see is moving now?
For the trend of the packaging, from the today's packaging, I would say nowadays we are getting more and more inquiry on the sustainability, to be honest. So the challenge to me is how to make sure that the standard, let's say standard retort pouch, PET, aluminum foil, nylon, and CPP, this is standard retort pouch. How can I develop the recyclable retort pouch that will keep the functions it's as same as the previous standard retort pouch? This is the one thing that customer and then even a brand owner really want to have the solution on that. We have done some experiments and some testing, and then have the prototype already, and then already some lower level, not reach up to retort level at the moment, but we can do up to microwavable or even boiling level for the monomaterial food packaging, which will come back to the fully 100% recyclable packaging. So you imagine your food pouch today is become on the standing pouch for your fried rice, let's say, and then after use, you send back to the recycler or the recycling company in your local authority, and then they clean it, they clean, they recycle, they grinding, make the resin again. It can come back to be the second life as let's say the outer packaging of your let's say bottled water or the collection drink for your bottled water, or even your shopping bags, or even your garbage bag. This could be the second life, or even after use, it can be the third life and fourth life. So this is the way of the trend that not only the global company, the local and the regional company also asking us a lot to do on this. And then this is one thing, sustainability. Another thing is the technology that Dr. already mentioned earlier, that okay, track and traceability is really important, and then it's like a gold mine for the brand owner. And then we as a packaging manufacturer has to make sure that this have to be more technology in that. We must print QR code on each individual pouch or label, and then brand owner or even the third party that doing the data collection or data mining on each brand or service on this part, they can help brands to get this on the customer, on the consumer side. And then we have to make sure that, okay, our printing is still last long enough, and then not being scratched or being deleted before the consumer use that function of the packaging. So this is a two thing, the track and trace, and then the sustainability, that we definitely have to be with that for the short term and long term for sure.
Yeah, thank you very much, ค่ะ คุณศักดิ์สิทธิ์ Actually, there is a question already covered by your answer, so I will skip that. So now come to the Jenny. Jenny, there is a question in related to, we hear a lot on the packaging, food safety, hygiene, sanitation, and technology. So the innovation that involve food text in order to develop products into the market. There is a question because I think audience know that food text mainly on the food ingredients. So what shall be the role of food ingredient suppliers? Start working now or even start already work on for the ready meal industry?
Actually, thank you, Ms. Rose. Actually, there are a lot of things that food ingredient manufacturer can work together with ready-to-eat meal industry. So just to have a look, usually ready-to-eat meal industry, they use fresh materials, such as, for example, fresh rice or fresh meat or fresh vegetables. But also together with the fresh materials, they would have, for example, sauce. In the sauce, there are ingredients that food ingredients can actually supply. For example, starch or thickener. Starch or thickener, they need a special starch or thickener because this needs to go through retort. So it means that it needs to be heat stable. And even after retort, it needs to be able to give the function that it should be. For example, it needs to be still be able to contribute to the body of the sauce to make sure that it's still thick. So this is actually a specialized field in which food ingredients can work together with the ready-to-eat meal industry. Other than functionality such as the starch, the flavor part is also important. As we know that a lot of flavor, they actually will not last at a retort temperature because retort temperature is quite high, it's 121 degree. So a lot of the aroma, a lot of the flavor is gone. So where food ingredient manufacturer can play a part is also in the natural ingredients. For example, how to actually utilize natural ingredients that are already in the convenient form. For example, in the form of a spice paste or in the form of garlic paste or onion paste, for example. So rather than utilizing just a flavor that can evaporate and can actually do not have any effect after retort, how to actually utilize natural ingredients as a part of the ready-to-eat meal industry. So over here we can see that there are a lot of opportunities by which food ingredients could work together with the ready-to-eat meal industry, from functionality and also from the flavor side.
All right, so thank you very much, Jenny, for the answer. And I would like to thank you to all of the speakers, Ms. Jenny Lusley, Mr. Saksit Borisuthanakun, Assistant Professor Dr. Kanithaporn Wangai. So thank you for sharing the experience and your knowledge with the audience and us today. So the question will be sent over to your email in order to answer directly to the audience here. And I would say thank you the audience that stay with us. This is the longest webinar I have in last 2 months. So thank you very much and stay tuned with us with the next episode that will be on food safety and healthy food on 5th of August at 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Thailand time. See you again and thank you for sponsor by Fooddex, TPBI, and เกษตรศาสตร์ University. Thank you very much. ค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ
Nothing like your help. Okay.